If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.
The weather is turning. It's playoff time in Division II college football. Western Colorado is hosting the playoff game, and we're here with the far end of the bench. We are going to full episode this week. We got all the kinks worked out. Appreciate everybody who tuned in to last week's episode. I heard a lot of good stuff about our pick segment, and then everybody did enjoy it. I mean, it's funny to go back and listen to some of those takes. I was texting you some of them, and though he won this weekend, the greatest line that I got from the podcast that we re-released. So last week, if you listen on audio platforms, you'll be able to hear our live, it's not live reaction, but our episode that we released right after the Avs won their last Stanley Cup. And it was also around the time Russell Wilson got signed to the Broncos. And I was saying, you know, we have Nikola Jokic, we have Nathan McKinnon, Russell Wilson's here. Great athletes just play in Denver. So I realized I had egg on my face, and I re-released that to the rest of the world. So people might have forgot about it because that was over 2 years ago, but here we are now, and that's got brought back up in my face. Welcome in, everybody, episode 160 of the Far End of the Bench podcast. Jimmy Pilato, Nico Bryant. What's up, Nick?
I figured out all the technical issues. I'm wearing a Broncos hat. Yeah, am I back? I want to let the people know out there. Get the word out, Jimmy, that we back up. Things are looking pretty nice here in the Mile High City. Is all I'm gonna say.
Are you willing to put your eyebrows on it?
No, I'm not willing to do that. I'm not that stupid. Unlike your Western State friend over there, that's not going to happen. But the boys are back in basketball. Look, we have the best team in basketball still, so things are very, very fun. And I have a home. So we'll touch on that here shortly. But my PLL team has a home, so I could not be more excited. So, but we'll get to that here in a little bit.
We do have a lot to talk about, and we're starting off with the sport that we kind of neglected because other things were happening right around the same time that the season starts. And this is the spring sport that just gets started in the middle of winter for nobody knows what reason. It's for people like Nico who want to gamble and watch something every night, except now they also have college football on every day of the week too. So it's a little bit redundant. There's college athletics out the wazoo. We're going to start with college basketball. Before we do, be sure to follow at FEOTB Pod. All social medias, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out the Variety Sports Network, and be sure to leave a like, a comment, leave a rating and a review. All that stuff does help us out in getting the word out, getting more people involved and interested in the show. So remind me, Nico, because I did fill out a bracket, but I've totally forgotten. Who won the national championship last year?
UConn won the national championship. And
that's right.
Fun fact for those out there that love weird statistics, University of Connecticut is the only men's program to have won a national championship every 10 years since the 1960s. That is a wild stat, but the 2010s they won, 2000s they won, 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s. Obviously, last year they won. The only men's D1 program that has been able to do that. I'm not sure about women's if that statistics is true there, but it is the only men's program that's been able to do that, which is pretty remarkable. So it's a long step away. I'll tell you that because they've lost a lot of players. Jordan Hawkins, with New Orleans now. Not Sheboy, I forgot the big Adama and the big man in the middle is gone. Lost a lot of bodies, but college basketball has been very, very entertaining to start. The first week has been very, very good. You see the likes of Kansas and Kentucky going at each other on Monday or on Tuesday night, which is a very, very exciting game. Hunter Dickinson, a guy from Michigan, transferring, obviously one of the big transfers in college basketball, going to Kansas. Kansas hopefully trying to get back to where they were 2 years ago with Christian Brown, with Achai Abaji and company. And then you have the likes of Duke, Arizona and company that are still trying to fight over who's the man in their conferences, the ACC and the Pac-12, which will be disbanded obviously very, very shortly. College basketball will be affected by that too. But Yeah, it's been a very, very good start. A lot of not really major upsets. Michigan State lost first night of the year, pretty bad one. I forgot who it was against.
James Madison, wasn't it?
James Madison. Yeah, it sounds about right.
Shout out James Madison. They're undefeated in football and basketball right now. Not eligible for the postseason in either sport, but they are undefeated currently. Football team has it. I think they've lost one game in 2 years.
Yeah, not many teams can say that, or not many schools can say that right now. So good for them. But yeah, college basketball is just is feeding my degenerate side is all I'm gonna say. Yeah, that's the nice part is because for whatever reason, college basketball, when I bet on college basketball, that's where my highest percentage is. Not NBA, not hockey, sure as hell not fucking football. It's college basketball, and I somehow hit like no other when it comes to those. And I hit those fucking Drexels, the George Mason's games, Tuesday night, Wednesday night games with -2.5. Like, oh, they'll win at home -2.5, and I win those for whatever reason. So, yeah, college basketball fully back, and very, very nice to see the college ranks back in full swing.
We'll talk about the rankings. I also want to talk about this too. A couple points. We've talked about how the NIL money and the fact that kids are staying longer has helped out college football. Are we seeing, is it the same? Because it's already different with college basketball and the NBA having the ability to be one and done. That was kind of the saying, like, it's okay, it's good for a season, but then nobody sticks around. So it's hard to build a program. Are you seeing, I mean, have there been people noticing that basketball players are staying too and the product happens to be getting more competitive?
The biggest effect to what you're saying in terms of that type of rule with college basketball is that these national player of the years, so look at the last couple of national player of the years, Luka Garza, Oscar Tshiebwe, I forgot who, I think it was Aldama last year for UConn. None of these guys are playing the NBA, right? I just named 3 Naismith Player of the Years the last couple of years of not getting real run in the NBA. That is look, the best player in college football is a top 5 pick every single year, right? If you win the Heisman, you're coming out of the draft, you're more than likely going to sneak your way into a top 5 pick, at least minimum top 10. The best players in college basketball right now are guys who are sticking around longer because now they have the ability to stay longer and make more money, which is massive. A guy like Hunter Dickinson, who I just talked about, leaving Michigan and going to Kansas, his NIL money is jacking up because of his ability. He's probably not going to do much to the next level. He's going to be a guy that's not going to get much run in the NBA. It's because of the size difference, because of athletic ability, and what the NBA has become, and frankly, what Europe has done to the league, right? Europe, there's bigger bodies, stronger players that are more ready to play in the NBA right now than these college kids.
Instead of 18-year-old college kids, yeah.
Exactly. So that's where the massive changes compared to college basketball is like, yeah, the best players in college basketball, they're probably not going to do much in the league. That's the unfortunate thing. There's the Zions, there's the John Morants, but they're not winning national championships. Those players, they're good players that are on mediocre teams.
They haven't gotten past the Elite Eight of the tournament. In reality, now that I'm thinking about it, that Duke team, Zion was obviously hurt going into the tournament, but they didn't make it out of the Elite Eight. I don't remember hearing about them in the Final Four. And same thing for Ja. I mean, Ja was a Cinderella team at the beginning with Marquette.
Exactly.
It's different. You're correct. It's different, and it's also different because there's more roster spots available in football. So you could be pretty. If you're decent enough on your team, you're going to get a look at somebody somewhere. They'll put you somewhere. In basketball, there's just not that many spots.
And I will give a shout out because CU, we've talked about Dion this, Dion that. CU men's and women's basketball teams are 2 top 10 teams in the country currently. The women
25.
just knocked the top 25. The CU women's team knocked off the number 1 reigning defending champs LSU women in their first game of the season. And they're top 5 ranked currently. I think the CU is top 25 still, but I know the women are
25th. Yeah,
I know
the men are 25th.
And I know the women are top 5, and they're ahead of LSU, who just brought in Haley Van Lith from Louisville, who's an absolute stud, and ahead
up 15
of
spots.
UConn. Yeah, up 15 spots. It is crazy. So shout out to the CU women's and men's basketball teams getting their season started the right way. Dion brought a lot of hype to the University of Colorado. And the women's and men's team, the men's team has a top 5 recruit in the country that is on their team right now. Let's not forget. I think it was either in last year's class or the year before that he's been balling so far. I think it's something Johnson. I forgot. excuse my unfamiliarity, but they have a very, very good team, and they're putting CU definitely on the map in terms of basketball wise too.
Well, I think that's a little bit of the residual Dion effect too, because when you get more people willing to go and be a part of that brand and what they're doing, I mean, I would have to imagine that the athletic department at CU right now is not like, oh my God, this is better. This cash cow that we brought in is better than we thought it was going to be. We're going to have more money than we know what to do with for all of our sports. This is going to raise the competitive level in everything that they've done. And so far it's worked out. One thing that I want you to explain it because you'll have a better idea of what to look for. I obviously no experience playing basketball, and the basketball that I got to broadcast was Division II, and we weren't close to the playoffs. But for a college season, how do you know that a team is ready? Like, can you tell this early on in the season, or do you have to get to that January, February, almost conference tournament time where you truly have an idea? There's always the Cinderella stories, but let's throw out the outliers. How do you know that a team is going to be good all season and they're going to be able to use that as momentum to go into the tournament?
I think the biggest factor of seeing a team that can make that next step to winning March Madness and hoisting the NCAA basketball championship is after the first round of in conference games. I think these first games right now are all mostly not all of them, but mostly are out of conference games. That got teams that know to play each other. You play showcases. The Hawaii Invitational, the Maui Invitational will be going next week. One of my favorite tournaments to watch every single year. You have the champions tournament, whatever the fuck they called it. I have no idea. Where you saw Kentucky play Kansas, you saw I think it was Villanova and somebody else. But you see a lot of programs just trying to see who they are at the beginning of the year. Once you get through this first round of in conference games where you face your rivals, first time at home, first time away, then you really see who's going to want out who, and that's come early January, late January, where you're like, you know what, let's see what these teams are really made of. I think middle of December, end of December is when we start seeing more in conference games and where teams will stand up against teams that will see them and can really game plan. Like I said, it's very, very hard to game plan against these good, talented teams right now. Obviously, it's very that really shows who's the good coaches and who's not the good coaches. But when you go through the first round of in conference games, that's where you really see where the good teams stack up and where the Cinderella teams may end up coming from.
What conference are you expecting the most out of this year? Is it the Big 12, who's kind of been pretty dominant throughout? Is the Pac-12 going to do what they're doing in football and make it everybody really sad that they're no longer going to be there? Are they going to give us one more Conference of Champions run? Is the real question that I'm asking. What conference are you most faithful in?
I don't know about that. I'll still ride with the Big 12 because I think the Big 12 is easily the best basketball conference. I think Big 10 maybe second behind them. But the Big 12 is, like I said, Kansas, Oklahoma. Oklahoma looks good. TCU is a very, very good team last year. Texas obviously has a couple very, very good high recruits. A lot of teams will be leaving, weirdly enough, that leaving here shortly. But the Pac-12, man, I don't know. It's going to be very, very tough. Arizona is going to have to lead the way in that charge, and that's the team that's the lower level leading the run. But Arizona is going to have to take charge with Caleb Love, guy North Carolina transfer for them. He's going to have to take a big role for them going forward to maybe be that Pac-12 team. A conference that I love, the conference that I just anytime this conference game is on TV, I got to throw it on. And that's the Big East. The Big East is expecting big things out of some teams. Ed Cooley, a guy who coached Providence for 10 plus years, leaves in conference and goes to Georgetown. Georgetown, a once great program, is trying to get back on track. So we'll see what they look like under Ed Cooley's first year. You have Rick Pitino returning back to the Big East with St. John's. St. John's is a good program, but maybe back in the day as well. Obviously, you have the reigning champs, UConn. Villanova, who's a couple of years removed from Jay Wright leaving, obviously, but winning a national championship as well. Big East is popcorn basketball. You got to throw on every single week.
Is that Marquette too? Is Marquette Big East too?
Marquette's a very, very
I have
good
to throw them
team.
out there because of my girlfriend's family. You
Saw
the Dwayne Wade jersey.
I know. Marquette's a Big East school. They're a big time school. I think they're going to be very, very good this year. We'll see if they're a team that's a very, very good team in terms of playing the Big East and fighting their opponents good. But when it comes to playing opponents outside the Big East, they're not very good. And that's where they've fallen years recently. So we'll see. But the Big East, like I said, the Big East I'm expecting another big year from those Northeast schools.
Tim, Joel, I hope that was fair enough for you. But let's talk about the top 25 rankings so far that we have in the second week of the season. Top 10 look as such. We'll start with number 10, FAU, who made a really good run through the tournament last year. The AAC is a conference that doesn't get talked about in football or basketball, but it's been fairly competitive the last few years. We're going to talk about another team out of that conference coming up in a couple spots. Duke at number 9, Creighton at number 8, Tennessee at 7, Houston, the other AAC team, coming in at number 6 to start the year off. Duke, obviously, they fell 7 spots from that would be the 2 down to the 9 after losing. They're 1-1 on the season. It's really early, and the fact that this basketball season is going to go from November all the way through to basically the first week of April, it's similar to what we talk about with football. Like, don't peak too early. You don't necessarily want to come out of the gates and start off 13-0 because you only have downhill to go. Get your tests out of the way. That seems to be what those teams are doing, but there's a couple surprises. I mean, Gonzaga not being in the top 10 after the last few years, they're obviously like people are down on
They've lost a lot of guys too.
Yeah, they don't have the leadership. What's the biggest thing that you see about that bottom half of the top 10?
Well, I think Duke losing at home was a massive thing. It was their first home game of the season, and they lose to Arizona. It's weirdly enough. So Caleb Love, who obviously I spoke about earlier, was a North Carolina transfer. He not only gave Coach K his last ever loss, last ever game at Cameron Indoor Stadium, a loss to him. But John Shire, who's the new head coach at Duke, obviously a guy who played for Dukes in the late 2000s, early 2010s, he gave John Shire his first ever loss at Cameron Indoor Stadium as well. So good for Caleb Love, a guy that North Carolina born and bred. So I know he's at Arizona now, but I'm sure he's very, very happy. But Duke's a team that has a lot of good talents. They did get a big time recruit. Cooper Flag looks like he's going to be a Duke Blue Devil in the future. So he's going to be a big guy coming in for them next year. But they're not a team that's built for the postseason, in my opinion. In terms of Houston and FAU had a Cinderella run last year. Houston's a team that has been a number 1 seed the last couple of years, so they've lost a lot of pieces. Quentin Grimes to name one specifically, Omar Sassy, who's a big time guard right now. I think for it's either Boston or it's some East school. I think it might be the Bulls. Either way, they have a lot. They have a lot of good talent in that back half of the top 10. But Duke is the team that people are gonna have high hopes because it's Duke. But I just don't have any belief in them this year.
We'll see how that plays out towards the end of the year. Obviously, they're going to be trying to do something. Coach K may insert himself back. He said he wasn't going to be going to the games, and he showed up at the first one that Shire had at Cameron Indoor. The guy's an egomaniac. I know that he's got the legacy and all that. He's lived long enough to see himself become a villain, unfortunately. Top 5, UConn, reigning defending champions. At number 5, Marquette. Number 4, Arizona 3, Purdue number 2. Obviously, Purdue had that insane collapse in the first round of the playoffs last year, or of the tournament. And then obviously Kansas right now sitting at number 1, champions 2 seasons ago with the guys that you mentioned, Christian Brown. That team kind of solidified, maintained their status as a blue blood because they had fallen off and hadn't won anything. And then obviously got that championship a few years ago. Is that top 5 going to be teams that we're seeing in the top 5 come March?
I would say Kansas will definitely be one of them. I'll put UConn in that conversation as well. I worry about the long-term effects for Arizona and I want to see what they look like when they get to the Pac-12 and how they play in conference. Marquette, they play in a tough conference too. I don't believe in them. I don't think they'll be a team that we'll be talking about late March. I think it's a team that will be surprising to people in early March, but not late March. But yeah, I would say UConn and Kansas probably the top 2. Purdue, Zach Edey, They still have the 7-foot fucking monster that is Zach Edey, but I just don't trust him. I just don't trust him at all. And Purdue showed it last year that they are not built for big time moments. And that you can go back to even their games against Indiana last year, big time rivalry games that they were losing, and they get a number 1 seed and is the second team in history to lose to a 16 seed, weirdly enough. So I don't trust them long term. They are a team that I don't care what you do right now. It's about what you do in March and what you do in late April. So I don't believe in them right now, and they'll have to prove me otherwise for me to get back on the Purdue hype train.
We're going to keep watching college basketball. We're obviously going to talk about it. It'll be similar to the NBA and NHL since we do have a long time. But that was good to get a nice little chat about it. It is early on in the season, so we'll see how things continue to progress. Let's move over to the professional side of the hardwood. We finally have 10 games that we can look at now. That's basically what we talk about with the NBA and NHL. You look at it in 10-game stretches. What is your win-loss in the last 10 that you have? So we're starting to see certain teams take form. We're starting to see certain teams kind of show that maybe we were a little bit too invested in them early on in the season. And the in-season tournament, I thought it was going to be like a mid-season tournament. I didn't realize it was the first month that we were going to get started, and it's every Tuesday and Friday, but it wasn't last Tuesday because it was election day. And don't worry, you'll be able to tell that it's an in-season game, in-tournament game, because of the new court. We're going to change the court. That's how we're going to do that. It's the NBA is living up to their reputation as like that train wreck that you just can't look away from. You're a fan of the league. You love the drama. It's too much for me. Like, I would rather worry about the product instead of worrying about how I'm going to package and sell this portion of the product that I have.
I will say, like, look, we can say bad things about the court. We can say bad things about like, who the fuck cares? In reality, these games matter. Like, let's not forget, these games matter because you're facing opponents that are more likely in your conference that will mean something going towards the playoffs. Obviously, the championship and semifinal games don't count toward the record for the end season tournament, but these games matter. So you have, like I said, bad court or not, end season tournament or not, you want to get wins, and it's important to rack up good wins at the beginning of the year so you don't set yourself back. But to oppose your point there, this in-season tournament has given some fireworks, Jimmy. I don't know if you've seen Draymond put Rudy Gobert in a headlock, Anthony Davis shove Desmond Bane to the ground. People are getting very, very testy for over these early season games. They are very testy. And look, I think Adam Silver loves this part of it. Because like I said, what have we said for many years, Jimmy? No one fucking watches basketball until Christmas because football's dying and who the fuck cares? I'm seeing fucking Draymond put Gobert in a headlock. Anthony Edwards talk shit all over the timeline, all over ESPN, because right now the NFL is putting out some shitty, very, very shitty primetime football games outside of Monday Night Football, which we'll talk about in a little bit. There's been some very, very bad primetime football games. Obviously, Thursday night will be better, and Sunday nights will be better. The next 2 upcoming games will be better. They've been very, very bad. And TNT right now, and ESPN are loving the fucking content and loving the brutality of this tournament. And that's exactly what Adam Silver wanted. Do I think this tournament matters? No, I don't give a fuck if we win. I could care less. It's
Nuggets
just a
are
banner.
undefeated, by the way, in the tournament.
Exactly, which we are undefeated. We fucking beat the Clippers, who we can talk about here in a minute. Well, I don't give a fuck about. And beat the Mavericks, who the Mavericks are a very, very good team. But like I said, I see that these guys care a little bit because, like it or not, it's a $500,000 check, Jimmy, to make the semifinals. It's an extra signing bonus to win it all. Like these guys like to spend their money, and look, you want to win every season. You don't go out there to lose, plain and simple. And when these games count towards your record, A, and B, count towards getting an extra paycheck, they mean a little something. Yeah, it's gimmicky. Yeah, it's bad, but the point of original thing is made to throwing a whole nother wrench into this thing, because to win your bracket, like, you have to have a better record and you have to have point differential. Meaning, if you win on a game-winning 3, you only have 3-point differential. You beat a team by fucking 20, boy, that helps you out big time. We're seeing close games. We're seeing this, that, and the other thing with these in-season tournament games. And yeah, it's gimmicky. Yeah, it's whatever. But I can't sit here and lie to you that it has not brought a little bit of more entertainment value to these early season games, because it has.
It's probably just because I don't get the NBA in general, and I'm not somebody that sits there and bases my week around watching the game. So I'm probably not the market that they're trying to hit. You're definitely more the demographic. It's just it was weird to me. I've heard enough basketball people, like guys that I know that like to watch a lot of the games. They even have talked about it being a little bit dumb and why are we
It is
doing
dumb.
this?
It is.
Let's
It
focus
absolutely is
on
dumb.
instead of I don't even know what to try, honestly, because I didn't think that this was coming down the pike until they announced it. I did not realize that this was in their plan.
I think this is a great opportunity to put eyes on the game earlier on in the year. That's the whole point of this. Let's not forget. No, like I said, absolutely could give less than two fucks about who the fuck wins the NBA Cup every single year. They could care less. And I think the league could care less. But you're bringing entertainment value and eyes to the game. That's the most important thing. It's like, well, during the fall, during the winter, when football is still on, and you have baseball ending, you have hockey on. It's important to try to get eyes of the sport during a time that there's your least viewership throughout the year, right? Like that's the most important thing right now, and they're obviously 100% doing that. So, and look, the courts are hideous. They're hideous. They're absolutely hideous. Is that going to sting? No, it's not, because it's so bad. But I cannot sit here and say that this has not been a success so far, because you're bringing entertainment to the game in October, November, and that's the whole point of this. So is it dumb? Absolutely, it's dumb, but it's bringing entertainment value, and that's the most important thing to Adam Silver right now.
Let's look over at the in-season standings. We may talk about where the tournament lies, but I kind of would rather talk about that when they get to the actual bracket play. But where the standings are currently after about everybody's played at least 10 games. Some teams have more. In the East, Philly, Boston are both tied. They have 8-2 records. Indiana, Miami, Atlanta, Milwaukee would be your teams in the playoffs currently, and then your play-in matchup, Brooklyn, Orlando, and then Toronto and New York right now. Cleveland, one game behind New York and Toronto at 4-6. But the East right now, it's pretty much what we expected at the top. What are you seeing in Milwaukee? Why are they seeming to struggle a little bit more? I thought the Dame move was going to be the missing link, and now they were going to be able to go back to where they were 3 years ago.
Dame and Giannis just can't stay on the floor together. Like, whether it be Giannis taking nights off for injury, Dame doing the same thing, or Giannis getting ejected, like it just seems like in 10 games that they've played 3 or 4 games together. Like they're still trying to get continuity together. Boston obviously definitely has that still. Throwing in Drew Holiday with Tatum and Brown and Porzingis adding into that too. They're getting, like I said, that's a team that was already built. When you add a piece like Damian Lillard, you're adding a whole new part to your team, a whole new part. Like that, things change massively, defensively, offensively, when you add a person like him. You add a person like Porzingis, add a person like Holiday, that things don't change. They just add to what you've already built. So they're trying to find their identity and see where they're at going forward. I think they'll figure it out. I have zero doubt about that. But it's been a rocky start for them. It absolutely has.
Do you trust Cleveland or New York to be in the play-in tournament at the end of the season?
God, I do not trust New York at all. Randall is just hideous. Randall takes nights off. I like Jalen Brunson's game, but the Knicks, if they ever want to be contenders in this Eastern Conference, they're going to have to add another piece, because these guys are not going to win them anything. Cleveland, I think, has very, very, very good talent. I'm a guy that's very, very high on Cleveland, and I probably should shut my mouth at some point, because it's come back to bite me in the ass last year. But I'm very high on Mitchell. I'm very high on Jared Allen. I'm very high on Evan Mobley and Darius Garland. And I think that's one of the best young cores we have in the league, and they just haven't figured out how to put it together. So I think that they'll figure it out eventually and get to the point where they can be very, very good again. But we'll have to see.
Who's the worst team in the Eastern Conference?
Oh, it's the Wizards. The Wizards are got to be the worst basketball team in the last 15 years, Jimmy. I don't know if you've come across Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma highlights on your TikTok page, but these two guys have they won their championships.
How the mighty have fallen.
They've won their championships, and they said, you know what? It's our team now. Let's do whatever the fuck we want and just fucking play street ball. And that's exactly what those two are doing in fucking Washington. That they're not even the worst team in the East. They're the worst team in basketball. like the Washington Wizards are playing. You see who they're playing against, and you take the spread every night of the damn week. Is all I'm going to say. I don't care if it's the fucking Orlando Magic versus the Wizards. You take the Magic spread. Pacers obviously also very very good team so far this year. Very very fun team. Halliburton's been very well playing very very well, and Brucey B over there has been playing lights out defensively for them. So they're a very, very up and coming team. But do not watch Washington basketball under no circumstances. If you think you're going to entertain yourself on, like, you know what, the Wizards playing? Nope, don't want a movie. Go find something else to do because this is not worth it.
All right, let's move over to the Western Conference, and we're talking about the reigning, defending Lakers daddy, world champion Denver Nuggets sitting at the top of the Western Conference.
We might be able even to change that, Jimmy. It's not just the Lakers daddy; it's the LA daddies, because the Clippers, we've beat them 7 times in a row, and we are 9-1 since the little Paul Millsap incident in a bubble. Where he came at them, and we've only lost 1 time. We have Paul George hitting the side of the rim, doing wedgies in the basketball. The Nuggets own the Los Angeles, whatever. Fucking insert name here. It's funny.
Area,
it's funny.
Yeah, Los Angeles in general. Nikola Jokic. It's like if there were horses, I would like maybe I would like to.
There are horse stables. Eric Johnson has a horse stable in LA or in San Diego area. So possibility is all I'm gonna say. Possibility.
What are we seeing? Well, we have the Nuggets sitting at number 1, Minnesota right now 2, Dallas 3. Yeah, no, we've talked about, Minnesota the last few years has been, are they going to get it together? And they had that wild try of Karl Anthony Towns and Gobert together. It just didn't work. We'll see how that. They seem to be, unless you're playing Draymond Green, he's going to take you down for 2 with an illegal headlock, but. Houston number 4, OKC 5, Sacramento is number 6, and then in the play-in spots, Los Angeles, the Lakers at 7, Golden State at 8, New Orleans at 9, and then Phoenix is sitting there at 10. I know that we talked about Phoenix before the season. You said they gave you a little bit of worry. Why are they struggling right now? Why are we only seeing them as the last team in the tournament?
Because the Big Three hasn't played 1 single game yet. Just take a look, Jimmy. We're recording this on Wednesday night, and this is their first game. We've played a month and a half of the season, or a month of the season, at minimum, month of the season, and they're finally playing together. Like this is what I went on my shield and said that they won't play more than 40 games this year. That may be too high because I don't think they'll play fucking 20 games together this year. So first game, all 3 are playing. I don't know what the score is of their game tonight, but they haven't played together. They have no continuity. And look, when all 3 of those guys aren't playing, the team is not very good. Okay. Nurkic as a fucking number 3 or number 2 option is not going to win you any fucking ball games. Plain and simple. Oh, you have Beal and Booker taking nights off and doing this, that, and the other thing. Nurkic is the number 2 to KD is not going to do anything good for you, especially when you look at the rest of the makeup of that team. The team is very, very top heavy, and that's it. Plain and simple. Very, very top heavy. The Grayson Allen is an offseason addition. That's not bad, but Suns fans are realizing if all 3 aren't playing, we're kind of fucked. So that's why they're that far. The biggest thing for me right now is the teams you list at 4 and 5. Houston Rockets have won 6 in a row. Houston Rockets, a team that added Dylan Brooks, fucking weirdly enough, added Fred VanVleet in the offseason, big time addition, added good old Uncle Jeff Green as well, championship pedigree. They've added some good additions, won 6 in a row. That's one of the 2 Nuggets losses. The Rockets are playing very, very good basketball. And then the Oklahoma City Thunder are one of the most entertaining teams to watch in basketball right now. They are switch your channel over to the Thunder type of TV to watch. Shea is that dude. Chet Holmgren has played very, very well thus far. He, in all honesty, he's outplayed Wembanyama. I early season rookie of the year predictions. I put Chet right now over Wemby. Obviously, it's a long season. We'll see who ends up winning that. But Chet Holmgren is all that in a box cookie. So this OKC team is must-watch TV. Very, very good team. And look, the Clippers. You didn't even mention the Clippers. 3 and 7. You add the cancer that is the locker room. James Harden. This team would be great in 2017. This team would be great.
I've never seen somebody tear another, like a person in the media. I've never seen somebody tear a professional athlete down. And everything that he said, like sometimes, like the guy in New York that was yelling at the offensive lineman, they should boo his ass. They should. Like, yeah, you could kind of have a point. You don't really, but I'll say you do. This guy, everything that he said was 110% on the nose, and probably how 85% of the NBA perceives having to have James Harden on their team. Like they were probably all sitting there like, oh God, please, our GM better not get a wild hair and think that he's going to be the one that disciplines James Harden. James Harden is there to play the season, and then as soon as the season is over, he would rather be anywhere else. He does not care about the postseason.
The only ring James Harden will ever get is the one off a stripper's body, and I will stand on that shield, plain and simple. So look, the Clippers are a team that, like I said, 2017 Clippers. This team in 2017 be the best team in the league. It's 4 All-Stars, 2 guys that have won MVPs, a guy that's won 2 Finals MVPs, and Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, who's been top 2 in an MVP race before. This team is not good. This team is not good at all. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, man, I think Kawhi deserves better, but then again, the guy's already solidified his career. He doesn't give a fuck. He's gonna get a paycheck and moving on with his life. But man, he deserves better than dealing with this bullshit. Because if I'm Kawhi Leonard and I see James Harden dribbling the ball like this, he has the last 5 games or 6 games now where they lost 6 in a row. He's dribbling the ball on the floor like he has been. I'd be like, this is fucking stupid. I am not being a number 2 to this guy. I'm not being a number 3 guy. Hell, I'm not being a fucking number 4 to this guy if Russ wants to do his shit too. Like, it is ridiculous. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are great number 1s. Well, my God, these guys, the four of them, Kawhi, PG, Russ, and James Harden, will never be good number 2s. Number 3s, good number 3s, not good number 4s, because they don't complement each other at all. Mm-hmm. This is why this won't work. They don't complement each other in the slightest. Why does Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic work? Because they play off each other. Why does AG and Nikola Jokic work? Because they play off each other. There's no – it's hero ball. That's what these guys do. It's like, you know what? We can beat our guy off the dribble better than you can, and you'll have to do a double team, and we'll kick it out to the 3 and hope for a win. That's exactly what this – it's terrible basketball to watch. It's horrendous. And like I said, this team will work. This team will not work. I predict that one of those 4 ask for a trade by the end of the season, by the trade deadline, and I think it'll be coming from Kawhi Leonard because he's already put up with this team thus already. It's funny because they traded for Russell Westbrook, right? They brought him in, and he doesn't finish games for them. Terrence Mann is. You're taking these minutes away from Terrence Mann. Oh wait, Jimmy, they also traded for good old buddy Bones Highland, who doesn't get any minutes on the floor, who hasn't touched the floor. He didn't touch the floor that bright blue court on Tuesday night when the Nuggets played them. He didn't even touch the court. This team is not a team. This team is a street ball team, one-on-one, trying to be cool. That's all they are, and that's what Steve Ballmer has built. Okay, so like I said, I expect this team to be blown up. We'll see. It is weird not weird. It's funny. James Harden gets traded, and all of a sudden, Tyrese Maxey is one of the best players in basketball in Philadelphia. I said I don't say many good things about Philadelphia, but Tyrese Maxey is playing great ball in Philly alongside Embiid. So he's been playing very, very good, and Philly is better for getting rid of that bum. Is all I'm going to say.
He doesn't want to play. That's the big thing that I keep coming back to. In the big moments, he would rather just be somewhere else. He'd rather be at a strip club, eating wings, those kinds of things. We'll keep up with the NBA season. We're going to move on towards what Nico's really excited about because now he knows exactly where he's going to be working. And we're talking about the PLL. They did announce their host city. So we'll go through the list first, and then Nico will get your thoughts on Redwoods and where they ended up landing. We have the Utah Archers, Philadelphia Water Dogs.
Utah, you have a world champion. Utah, stand up! You have a world champion.
Utah. Mormons unite. Philadelphia Water Dogs, runner-up, the reigning runner-up.
Yeah, Michael Sowers is a big Philadelphia. It makes sense.
New York Atlas.
That was probably one of the biggest surprises. The Atlas, a team that has a bunch of DU guys, and a team that Atlas, big bulls. You think of Texas, but. Good for them. Do you think New York Stock Exchange, the Bull? I think that's going to be a very, very entertaining team. Very, very good team, top to bottom. They just got to put it right together. Good for them. Good New York team.
No real team in the Southwest. That's where I'm a little.
Or the Midwest.
Well, I mean, they're going to count Colorado and Utah as the Midwest.
It's not.
I know. You and I know that, but they're sitting in the East Coast right now, thinking, "Oh yeah, it's Colorado, all right there in the middle." Colorado and Utah will be the Midwest teams. Maryland gets the Whip Snakes.
So it's the
Makes sense.
Maryland Whip Snakes.
There's about 10, 11 guys that went to University of Maryland on that team, and it makes sense that Baltimore has that team. So they changed their color scheme around, so no more teal green. They're now the colors of the Maryland flag, that hideous checkered flag logo that is on every single Baltimore whatever.
Come on, we
franchise.
don't need to alienate any other. We don't need to alienate the entire state of Maryland. But
There
yeah, I
is
mean,
no
it is weird.
Jimmy. There is no one that loves their flag more than the state of Maryland. Okay, let's just put that out there.
Crab cakes and football. That's what Maryland does. Denver
I
Outlaws.
have a little crab cracker, whatever the hell they call it, that says Maryland loves their crab and loves their lacrosse. So they love whatever physical sports. Okay, is all I'm gonna say.
Denver Outlaws. The Outlaw, is this a rebrand? I don't
rebrand. So the Chrome are gone.
Yes.
The Chrome is no longer. So the worst team in the league last year statistically is now the Denver
They had to bring
Outlaws.
somebody in so the Broncos and Rockies didn't feel left out.
I look as a guy that I'm loyal to my team. I'm 100% loyal to my team. But I'm very happy that the Outlaws are back. I'm very, very excited that Denver gets the team back. I did not know if they're going to bring back the team name. And look, I'm not going to sit here and act like I was the biggest Outlaws fan in the world because I never really watched lacrosse outside of college lacrosse growing up. But it's very, very cool to see the Outlaws back. And look, it's unfortunate that they're inheriting the worst team in the league, quote unquote, based off standings. But all that means is one of the greatest talents in college lacrosse history, Brennan O'Neill, will be in Denver, Colorado, more than likely next year. So that's very, very exciting for them. So very, very exciting to see the Outlaws back. And like I said, I'm happy Denver got a team. Very, very happy Denver got a team. But it's unfortunate because as I don't know if we'll touch upon this more, but there's West and Eastern Conference now. And the Western Conference has Denver, has Utah, has Cali Redwoods, which we'll talk about here in a minute, and then has the Carolina Chrome. How that works in the Western Conference, I don't know, but it does. But yeah, it is going to be a little bit of a rivalry now. But I'm excited that the Outlaws are back.
Paul, Mike, I think you guys need to take my geography class because
to be fair, out of the other 4 teams, it is kind of the most West. Like in terms of like looking at it west.
Yes. But I work every day with humans that would see that and go, what? I thought that was east. I was like, oh God. Think outside of yourself for a moment. No, I figured when I saw it, I was like, oh, that makes more sense. And obviously, if it's going to be in Denver, it's got to be orange and blue. You can have a burgundy,
orange and black. But
yeah.
That's the Outlaw because like I said, the Outlaws were.
It looks blue.
I know, but it's one of the most was one of the most prestigious MLL teams outside the Cannons and the New York Lizards as well. So the Outlaws won 3 championships in their history, MLL championships. It's gonna take a while probably to get back to that point. We'll see, but it's good to have the Outlaws back, and I'm very, very excited.
And they get to keep the name of the youth organization. I'm sure that the PLL, now that they have host cities, are probably going to start outreaches and probably just
I played for the Denver Bandits. That was our team. We were the affiliate for the Outlaws, but we call ourselves the Bandits, like the Junior Nuggets, like the I don't know what the Avs is, but the whatever the junior teams that we were the Bandits. So it'll be fun to see all the new Outlaw stuff back in our home state.
We did talk about the Carolina Chaos since they're the last team in the Western Conference, but that is where the Chaos ended up landing. It's in North Carolina, right? Not South Carolina.
It's most of the games are going to be in Charlotte. It's a beautiful, one of the most beautiful stadiums that we played in all summer. So that's probably where their home game is going to be.
Nice.
You can tie those two states together and have good representation both. So.
Then we have the Boston Cannons. I'm saving your team for last. That one was inevitable because it just makes sense. That's what they were initially. Now they just go right back to it. The Boston Cannons, obviously they have a lot of history with Paul Rabel, one of the owners and founders of the league. And that leaves us to you, the California Redwoods. It makes sense. I was thinking maybe a little bit more Seattle, but I'm assuming it's Northern California. So like Bay Area type location, or is it Southern California?
Look, it's just California right now. I don't know where our home games will be. Like I said, we're still going to be a 2-way model. So that means every team's going to play every single weekend at each city. We'll just play 2 games. So there's rumors coming out of where it could be. Could be SoCal, so it could be NorCal. Who cares, man? I'm on the fucking West Coast, and that's all I care about. West Coast Woods, baby. I love it. I look, if we weren't Denver, I'm glad it was Cali, because Cali is a much easier fucking flight than fucking Hartford, Connecticut, is all I'm going to say. It's a much easier flight on me doing that. So I'm very, very happy that we're in Cali. Seattle wouldn't have been bad, but I prefer the options of California. Is all I'm going to say. Than that cold rain winter over there in Seattle. So I'm very, very excited. The Woods are, like I said, everyone's very, very thrilled. Like I said, we're one of the most popular teams in the league, and it makes sense. The Hollywood boys that we're the pretty boys a little bit, and I like it. And it remains to be seen where our home games will be. Who knows what it'll be? I'm sure the PLL is still figuring all that out, and there's a lot of time to do that. Obviously, with the winter coming up, so I could not be more thrilled. And the logo is beautiful. All the merch that has been put out is beautiful, and I'm thrilled. I am utterly thrilled, and it's giving me that itch to get back with the boys and get back. The motherfuckers trying to get responses back on getting flights for those motherfuckers every damn week, and trying and getting their equipment all set and getting all that set. So I'm thrilled, and I'm excited to see the boys back here in February, because February there's announced that it's when the Champ Series will be. So in February we'll be representing the state of California. So it's weird. I'll be wearing California stuff in Denver when there's a team here in Denver, but I'm thrilled. I'm super, super thrilled.
This is a good time to tell you my allegiance has now shifted. I know that I had a fledgling allegiance anyways.
We're not Philly. We're a non-Philly podcast.
I'm not saying I'm a Philly. I dropped the Water Dogs as soon as they dropped into Philadelphia. I'm Outlaws, and I hope every time the Outlaws and Redwoods play, as unfortunate as it would be for you guys, I'm going to be pulling for the Outlaws in that situation.
Look, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, there's last year when there's extra gear or whatever that was just going to get thrown away or whatever, I just grab shit and would do that for friends that are friends of teams or whatever, for my family or whatever. And I'm not going to lie to you. Like, if there's outlaw shit fucking lying around and some other stuff, like, I'm going to snag it, because like if there's stuff that's being thrown away or wasted away or whatever, that's the good thing about being in equipment and touching all this equipment every single day, as I was doing. So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. Like I said, I'm thrilled Denver's back, and that we have a home city. That's very, very important. Home city, where we can build a repertoire, and that in California specifically too. I'm very, very thrilled. The reach we can have, and being the West Coast team is huge. It's huge, absolutely huge. So we can, like I said, there's a lot of regions we can touch in California. Being that West Coast, best coast is absolutely wonderful.
I think it'll be good too for free agency and like enticing people to go. Because I mean, like you said, not going to Hartford, going to possibly either Los Angeles or the Bay Area. It's not like you're going to a bad place. And hey, if you're sad, go surf, go to the beach,
Exactly.
go enjoy the sun.
It's a good part about it, and that's the unfortunate part about this, is because I still hate the Lakers with every part of me, and I love saying no coast bias, but here I am rooting on the West Coast Woods. So.
Now you're a left coast warrior. Now we see where your true loyalties lie.
I know it's a bummer. It's a bummer, but it is what it is.
How hilarious! Yeah, I'm just saying. I would have loved. I wish we could have done a live reaction, but I would have loved if they would have settled on the Philly Redwoods. Because it would have made no damn sense anyways. There's no redwood trees in Philadelphia, but just the fact that you would have to be here sitting like, and we're going to represent the city of Philadelphia. I'm hoping the boys will do well. I'm excited to get back with everybody and just to look.
I cannot wait to get to that beautiful state of Pennsylvania. And oh man, I would have been eating my words. I could not be more thrilled that look. California is not better than Colorado. I love living here. I will live here as long as I can. But Cali is a decent second option.
Ask all the Californians that are moving here. Ask them. People that are making it impossible to get into the housing market. They love it here. Let's move on. And I guess the one thing that we'll talk about before we get into the actual pick'em, we're not going to touch on college football. It's basically the same conversation. These teams would be here, there if we had the 12-team playoff. I wish the 12-team playoff was this year. Big news dropped last week, and it was even after. So we went live. We actually recorded our show on Thursday, and it was a little bit late recording. This happened Friday afternoon. when Michigan was already on the plane going to Penn State. The Big Ten made the ruling Jim Harbaugh would be suspended for the remainder of the regular season, and he was not going to be able to coach. So all of a sudden on this plane, I mean, I'm sure they probably had a contingency plan like this could look this way, and they may say Harbaugh can't coach. So I'm sure it wasn't like the first time it was brought up, but Sharon Moore on the plane ride to Happy Valley was told, hey, not only are you the offensive coordinator, but you're the acting head coach right now because Harbaugh can't be on the sideline, can't be affiliated with the team.
Can't be in the stadium. It's crazy. It's crazy. And look, they got a big win. They absolutely got a big win. Penn State's a very, very good win, but
they didn't throw the ball in the second half. A single time. That was a bully. That was the body blows that I've been talking about. That was just standing in the center of the ring and knowing that other team had nothing to give you.
Yeah, the Michigan's such a good team, and obviously, look, they're fighting so damn hard because they couldn't give less than 2 fucks about this weekend in Michigan, or not Michigan State. Who do they got? I think it's not a very good team.
Maryland.
Don't give 2 fucks about Maryland. They'll fucking steamroll over them. It's the big game on fucking 2 weeks from now. That's the one. That's the one that's circled. That's the one everyone cares about. That is going to have massive implications that they care. It's like, you know what? If you want to suspend it, suspend. They're all. This is what Michigan's saying. It's like, fine, just reduce it by 1 fucking game. That's all we care about. Reduce it by 1 game so that instead of a 3-game suspension, it's a 2-game suspension, and that he can coach Ohio State. That's because right now this is affecting their playoff chances. I'm not going to sit here and act like Harbaugh can coach circles around everybody in the country, but he showed that he can outcoach Ryan Day. He has. He's shown that, and Ryan Day is, and 2 weeks from now, when those two match up, it's going to have massive effects on the playoff, who's going to win the national championship, and everything. So,
well, I mean, think about Ryan Day's already on the hot. Ryan Day's already on the hot seat, losing to Jim Harbaugh, who. Twice. However you feel about him, he's been in the Super Bowl as a head coach at the NFL level. He's a good coach. Ryan Day hasn't been able to sniff his jock in 2 seasons. And they've been people in Columbus are mad. You don't lose to Michigan. You have to beat Michigan. You have to beat Michigan. They don't even say that the name of the state, but you have to beat Michigan. If you're the Ohio State head coach. And if you lose to the acting guy that's just the offensive coordinator, and if it looks anything like the last 2 seasons have, where Michigan is purely dominating, like thoroughly all 60 minutes, it's never even close. I would say that Ryan Day is on the possibility, as good as he's going to be, as good as he's been in the postseason situations, he's going to be possibly looking for a job.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. I would 100% agree. And a school that could be looking at the likes of Mike Vrabel as a head coach, right? Vrabel might be a guy that Tennessee might want to
be out in Tennessee.
I'd be out in Tennessee, and he could come over. He'd love to coach for his alma mater. There's a lot of guys that would love to eat up that job, is all I'm going to say. So, and Ryan Day is a guy that was kind of just gifted the reins after Urban Meyer left. He was like, you know what? Fuck it. You know the guys. We'll keep you around. And it's coming back to bite him in the ass, especially if you can't beat a Harbaugh-less Michigan in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll save that conversation. We'll save the hockey conversation because everybody says hockey season doesn't start until American Thanksgiving, and obviously the game is something to talk about. It's rivalry weekend in 2 weekends here in college football, so we'll talk more about that. I did want to just mention Harbaugh currently suspended for the remainder of the regular season. They are trying to file either an injunction or get the suspension reduced, and it still has not been decided what this is going to mean for postseason play. If he's going to be able to be on the sidelines for the conference championship, and or if they make it to the college football playoff at that point. Nobody really knows what's going to be happening with that program. It's a lot of questions that need to be answered. Let's talk about the pick'em. We said that we'd go do better than we did the week before. We did, but Nico, that's 3 losing weekends in a row. You're 2-3 again on the week.
Oh man, you said, the Broncos are gonna fuck us again. I was like, fuck us. I'm sorry. The Broncos win. And look, the pick'em is fun. We love doing the pick'em. Don't get me wrong. But in the big stretch of things, the Broncos winning on Monday Night Football helped both of us more than we know. More than we know. Because the Broncos winning 2 straight games against the Bills and Chiefs, fucking, oh my God. Hallelujah. The Lord has come down and blessed us again with a halfway decent football team. And in the state of Colorado, we're back. And bidding the Bills at 500, Jimmy, helps your team who fucking lost this week. So keeping you in the wild card hunt. So, like it or not, Yeah, the pickup sucked, but you know what? Football's fucking back, baby.
I don't know what you're talking about. It sucked. I was over 500. I was 3-2. You were 2-3 on the week. Yeah, the Bengals ended up being the ones that fucked us in all reality because
I told you the Texans are frisky.
no.
I
Here's the
warned
thing.
you.
I
said it
tried
last
to
week.
say a
CJ
few
Stroud is
times.
offensive rookie of the year. I said it, and people are just now realizing he's offensive rookie of the year. It's not even close. He is the best quarterback out of this draft, and he's him.
I said a few times on talking to Gridiron after the game. I said last week going into the game, I know that this was not going to be the 6.5 number that they had for the spread in this game was stupid. It was stupid from the very beginning because the Bengals really don't blow that many teams out. They normally win close games because their offense is able to keep it close. And the Texans, CJ Stroud is the best quarterback of last year's draft. And no, it's just frustrating because Tyler Boyd, I want to be careful about this because he's never been this kind of an issue. But Tyler Boyd dropped 2 first downs and a touchdown. The touchdown that would have made it so CJ Stroud, instead of just having to go 30 yards to get into field goal range, would have to go all the way down the field and put the ball into the end zone. He may still be able to do it, but I feel more confident in that situation than just having to kick a field goal to go up and win it. And you can't the Bengals this season, I don't know what it is, but it's not like they have a bad first half and then have come out and have a stellar second half. They have just like 5-minute stretches where, this team, they're unstoppable. This team was never going to beat anybody. What are we doing here? This team is mediocre. And then at the end, oh wow, they're good again. It's just give me one team. I don't need the schizophrenic Bengals. I don't need 18 different opinions. Just give me the one opinion, please.
There's not a team in the National Football League that plays to the level of their competition more than the Cincinnati Bengals, right? Not a team. You fucking cook the Bills. You cook the 49ers. Like you beat these good teams, and then you fucking have a chance to get a good win back where you can continue your winning streak against the Texans in a week where. Let's be honest with ourselves. This is a week that you're going to circle back if you don't make the playoffs that fucked you. I stand on
it would have
this.
been such
It's
a
like,
huge momentum swing because we have all divisional matchups this weekend too.
If you don't make the playoffs, these 2 weeks could be the detrimental of it. Week 8 and week 9, whatever 9 and 10, wherever the fuck it is. These 2 weeks could be it. Because if you lose to the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday night, it's done. It's over. You're not making the playoffs. I will say it because what the AFC has done. Because the AFC right now is an absolute fucking mayhem mess at the top right now. And look, you in a week where you lose to the Texans, the number 1 team in your division loses. The Cleveland Browns, who just lost their quarterback for the season, which they're probably better without him. Let's be honest with ourselves. Better without him. Beat the number 1 team in your division this past week. That is a week where you could have gained a game on the division. You could have gained it. You could have worked your way back up to winning the division. The division may be out of reach.
I know this. I know this.
Like I said, Jimmy, look, my team's not making the playoffs. I'm rooting for your team to fucking do something because right now we're looking towards basketball and hockey season every damn winter and it fucking sucks. Okay, it's a long shot for my team to make the playoffs, and I want your team to do good. I really do because I'm that good of a friend. And but right now, like those 3 games at the beginning of the year, you know what? This team got past this. This team hasn't got past that. This team has not got past those 3 losses. They play to the level of their competition, and for whatever reason, they turning it on and off like this is what's going to bite them in the ass, and it's going to make them sweat out week 16, week 17, where they're hoping for teams to lose. Because luckily, like I said, the Broncos beating the Bills, that hurts the Bills' playoff chances. It absolutely does. It hurts the Bills' playoff chances. Texas winning, that helps their playoff chances. The Jaguars are still winning them too. Like all these teams right now, the Steelers, the Browns, the Ravens. I'm naming off 8 teams that are in the playoff picture. And unfortunately, you're sitting at 6-5 right now, or 5-5, whatever the hell it is. 5-4 right now. You're sitting there being like, fuck, we need to rattle off some wins now. We have to. You have to. You have to. Because you can't afford to lose 2 more games. I'll say it. You can't afford. You cannot go in. You cannot go into week 18 or week 9 or whatever the hell is week 19, whatever the 17, whatever the fuck it is, and sit there with 8 losses on your record, 7 or 8 losses, because you will not be a playoff team like that. So you have to take care of business. And like I said, the schedule is not getting easier.
Here's the good thing. At least they're making it very clear and obvious. Like they're not mathematically eliminated because they're technically still going to be 500 if they lose this weekend. But yeah, it's a mental kick in the dick because you're just not going to get over that hump. You have to give yourself grace because you still do have to play the Chiefs at the end of the season. You are going to have to play the Browns and the Steelers, and those are all going to be tough games. So if you fall behind at this point and you miss out on 2 weeks where you could have taken advantage, the team is over at that point. But they've done pretty well with their back against the wall the last 2 seasons. So it's not like I have no confidence, and I want to make sure that everybody hears this. I'm normally the pessimistic one about my team, even though they're doing better than they have in my entire life's history. I do have some faith still. If you win Thursday, if they normally play pretty well against Baltimore on Thursdays, on Sundays and Mondays, it's pretty ugly. But Thursdays, it could be something. And Lamar gave that game away to Cleveland. So we're starting with Thursday Night Football, Bengals, Ravens. Ravens are favored by 3.5 at home. Division leader, if they lose this weekend, whoever wins the Browns and Steelers game ties for first place in the AFC North at 7-3. So there's a lot of things up in the air, but Bengals, I said it, I still have faith. I'm going to put it out there right now. I'm still going with the Bengals. I'm still making that pick. I haven't picked against them yet this season. I'm trying to be a good fan and stand behind my boys.
Is that a shot, or is that sounds like a shot? That's all I'm gonna say.
No, it's legitimately like so far I've done this, and I know that I haven't in the past. Like I've been like, oh, I'm the mush. I need to pick against them. It's more fun to like actually and not be okay if they lose because hey, I got a game in the pick 'em. No, I want them to win me the game, and I want them to put a win for me on the week. It's the defense on both sides that I'm nervous about because the Ravens defense is incredible. They killed the Bengals offense in that first game. The score did not indicate how not close that game was. And the Bengals defense, I mean, Trey Hendrickson is practicing, but how limited is he going to be because he's been banged up for the last 3 weeks, basically in every single game. And they just weren't good last week. They'd been okay up until then at points, but it was totally out of sorts, no pass rush. And Sam Hubbard not being there, Jordan, shout out Jordan Maxson at the VSN tailgate show. He was on Talking the Gridiron, and he mentioned it too. Like he's like a top 8 defender against the run, Sam Hubbard. Not many people think about that, but when he's not playing, the Houston Texans couldn't run the football. But Sam Hubbard not being in the game allowed Devin Singletary, of all people, to look like Emmitt Smith. What the hell? But given all of that, I am still going with the Bengals.
I look, they've bit my ass too much, and like I said, I need to get games up. I'm gonna go Ravens here. The Browns defense is so far ahead of the Bengals defense right now, especially without Hubbard and Hendrickson healthy. That's the difference. That's the difference, in my opinion. Is Lamar is not going to have as big of a pass rush where he has to deal with Myles Garrett constantly. If Hendrickson's healthy and Hubbard's healthy, it's going to help them. But this defense on the back end is not as talented. Its linebacking core is decent, but it's still this Browns defense is so much better.
Linebackers are better than the Ravens.
I know I'm saying Browns defense. This is where I'm comparing it to, and that's why I think the Ravens offense will fare better offensively as opposed to last week where the Browns have the top 3 defense in football. So give me the Ravens.
Speaking of that top 3 defense in football, the Browns are the next matchup because we're a primetime show. We're primetime this week, baby. I'm Thursday night, you're Sunday night football, so we had to throw in an extra game there to get to 5. And I picked the Browns and Steelers because, like I mentioned, whoever wins this game, if Baltimore loses, gets a tie for first place in the AFC North, which with the seasons these two teams have been having so far would be a total shock. I mean, the Steeler fans always expect that the Steelers are going to do good because the Steelers are the perfect football team, and there's been 53 Super Bowls, and the Steelers have been Super Bowl champions in every single one of them. I don't know if you saw that sketch this weekend from Saturday Night Live where it's the 2 wacko Jets fans. It never happened. No, the Jets have been Super Bowl champions 46 years in a row. That's the Steelers fan.
You can see all this is fun and games until you realize they haven't had a losing seasons under two regimes of head coaches, which is spanned for 30 years. So yeah. Look, they're not good at winning big playoff games.
Fans, not the team.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. I'm going to go Steelers because I'm not trusting PJ fucking Walker. Plain and simple. Or I think it's PJ Walker. I'm not even sure who it's not Dorian. Not Dorian Finney-Smith. What Dorian Thompson? Whatever.
Dorian Thompson Robinson.
Whatever the hell it is. The Steelers D line is going to eat this team up. I think. And look, this is a game where if the under is anything over 40, you hammer the under is all I'm going to say. Because these two offenses are not going to fucking put up points. This is going to be a 16-13 ball game, and I like the Steelers winning a gritty game.
I'm taking a dog pound defense. Myles Garrett's going to dunk his nuts in Kenny Pickett's face after he sacks him for the 8th time that day on Sunday. I'm going with Cleveland. I would rather them have.
There's a good chance TJ Watt and Myles Garrett combined for 10 sacks on Sunday. Let's keep them.
Quarterbacks beware. Quarterbacks beware on both sides. Cam Hayward's back for Pittsburgh's defense too. He makes a big difference because he takes attention away from TJ Watt. So there's a lot working against them, but I despise everything. Absolutely. There's no better word than hate for how I feel about Pittsburgh and their fans and just the team over it. Grinds my gears that they've been that good, that they've had 3 amazing head coaches. Because I had to deal with Marvin Lewis for 18 years. And they get Bill Cowher, Chuck Noll, and goddamn Mike Tomlin, and I'm pissed. All right. Before I lose my shit entirely. Raiders, Dolphins. That's another game that we're picking up here. Dolphins are favored by 13.5, but the Raiders get that interim coach bump 2-0 in the last 2 weeks. It was ugly, to say the least, but I will tell you, Vegas did get me that game back. Now it's a 2-game lead instead of what was a 5-game lead. So I'll give them their props when it's due. I don't think that we're going to be different on this one because there's no way I'm picking the Raiders. If we know anything this year, the Dolphins will kill bad teams when they play them and probably make it pretty ugly. They're going to see if they can touch that 70 mark again like they did against Denver.
They are a great team against bad football teams. They are a terrible team against good football teams. I don't care if Antonio Pierce has that team believing in themselves. They're not fucking going into Miami and winning. Plain and simple. I would be very, very surprised if they do. So give me the Dolphins and look, good for the Raiders. They have belief back, but you still have Aiden fucking O'Connell on quarterback. God damn, I'm not fucking picking O'Connell and whoever the fuck the offensive coordinator is to put up points against the damn Dolphins, okay? And how to match how many points the Dolphins coming off a bye week. Let's not forget, Dolphins coming off a bye week where they get Devon Chain back, Tyreek Hill healthy, Tua healthy, Jalen Waddle healthy finally. Yeah, no, give me the Dolphins. I would almost say give me the points too, but I'm not going to. But I will be taking
a lot in the NFL.
That's so much.
2 touchdowns is quite a bit. Vikings, Broncos. Sunday Night Football.
God Lord, why did you give us a fucking -2.5 for the Broncos? Why?
I think it's the first time all season they've been favored.
No, I think we were favored.
You were favored a couple in the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I think it was Washington. Yeah. I think we were favored against the Raiders too. Washington and Raiders.
How'd that work out?
Well, those are the 2 games where that if we won those 2 ball games, we'd be sitting pretty good in the playoffs right now.
Tied with us right now. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd be right now. Yeah, that 2-game difference is the difference between 4 and 5 and fucking 6 and 4. So or 6 and 3, excuse me, 6 and 3. So it's a massive difference. So it sucks that those 2 losses, but look. I've sat on the show for now 8 straight weeks, 9 straight weeks, and have just fed it into my brain that I'm just going to pick against this team every single week, and it's bit me in the ass to pick them. It absolutely has, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I was not absolutely thrilled to win that ball game, and I was not. Look, I have not yelled at my TV like that at a Broncos game in probably 7 years. I kid you not, Jimmy. I did not physically yell, throw my hat at the TV when Will Lutz missed that first game-winning field goal. I lost my fucking mind. I really did, because I had belief. I had fucking belief. I it is and I say 7 years because the year after the Super Bowl, I thought we were gonna fucking at least make the playoffs, and it didn't happen. Okay, and I had some belief. There's belief in this team because Sean Payton has fucking fixed Russell Wilson. Okay, he has fixed Russell Wilson. And my God, he has coached circles around the last couple teams he's played. Coached circles around LaFleur to beat the Packers. Coached circles around McDermott. He got fucking Ken Dorsey fired in Buffalo. Like, the Broncos are a 3-game winning streak, Jimmy. If you told me before the season started that the Broncos would win 3 games in a row, and to pick where it'd be, it would not be these fucking 3 weeks. I'll tell you what. It would not be these 3 weeks. I'm like, oh, you know what? We may beat the Chiefs. We may beat the Bills, but we'll lose the Chiefs. Oh, we'll maybe beat the Bills, but we won't beat the Chiefs. No, I would have fucking never picked that in my wildest dream. Never.
It is the wrong part of the schedule. Here's the thing, though.
And the schedule gets a lot easier. Don't get me wrong. The Vikings are a very, very good football team right now. They're one of the hottest football teams in the country. There is zero doubt about that. Josh Dobbs has those boys playing good football. Very, very good football. And look, this is a team without Justin Jefferson still. So they're waiting to get their number 1 receiver back. But man, I could not be more enthralled with what Sean Payton and the trajectory this team has. I don't think we're making a playoffs. Let's keep this very, very clear, okay? This is a man speaking that does not think his team will make the playoffs. But I have a belief that we can go 8-9, 9-8. I have a belief that's a real possibility with your schedule. Real possibility. This is the guy who wanted this team to fucking take Caleb Williams and Drake May. Russell Wilson, and look, Russell Wilson is not doing much. But when you throw 5 incompletions for a full fucking football game, you're not going to lose many games. And yeah, the offense is very one-dimensional with the running game. What if we look? You're listening to a podcast with a fucking center and a fullback who love to do what, Jimmy? We love to run the damn ball. And running the damn ball wins you football games, and I fucking love it, okay? I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm taking the Broncos, and I'm fucking right back on the fucking train, baby. Call me a fair weather fan. I don't care, okay? I don't care. I may have picked against this team every single week to lose every single week. But I still wear my Broncos hat, still cheer this team on to win every single week because you know what? I'm still fucking here. And man, I love what Sean Payton has done, and Russell Wilson has figured it out and getting the running game back to where it was. This defense is very, very far away from giving up 70 points. You hold the Kansas City Chiefs to under 20 points twice in 3 weeks. You force 4 turnovers on the Buffalo Bills. Yes, Josh Allen's a turnover machine, but you force 4 turnovers on the Buffalo Bills. Vance Joseph, dare I say it, don't bite me, Lord, please don't bite me in the ass. Vance Joseph has figured out how to coach this defense. And this defense looks so much more improved these last 3 weeks. A defense that gave up 70 points is now averaging 16 points per game on the opposite side of the football, where you faced the Chiefs twice, the Bills, and the Packers. And look, the Packers aren't good to the other teams, but that 4-week span, you're holding your opponents to under 16 points per game. That's fucking incredible. That's what you want. That's what you want to see as a Broncos fan. So give me the Broncos. And look, do I believe that this team can make playoffs? Like I said, no. But man, it'd be very, very cool, very, very sick to fucking be 500 after 1-5 and thinking that the world's gonna end. So give me the Broncos on Sunday night at home. Look, that stadium, there's a belief in that stadium. There will be. I was at the game Tuesday night where the Nuggets beat the Clippers in the play-in tournament. Justin Simmons got a fucking standing ovation. 3 weeks ago. Pretty good. 3 weeks ago. Oh, by the way, Jimmy, 30 interceptions since 2016. Justin Simmons, best safety in the fucking league. Top 2 safety in the league. 30. No one in National Football League has more interceptions since Justin Simmons walked into the NFL and since 2016 than Justin Simmons. That is a top safety in football, and anyone can come at me about that because he is. And you have a top 3
makes you question why they didn't want to pay him.
I know I'm aware of the idiocy of this team, Jimmy. I'm aware of the idiocy. I'm very aware.
I feel attacked after you talked about the Bengals, so I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to poke
aware.
holes in your
I'm
argument.
very aware of the idiocy of this team, Jimmy. I know they're idiots, and I know everything that's gone bad in the last 8 years is what has happened. But I cannot sit here and not think that I have a positive attitude now, because I do. That's all I care about. I went into that Monday night game against the Bills, be like, you know what? I believe. If you're a Denver fan, you gotta believe, right? Like, cut the fucking negative bullshit in the city of Denver, okay? Like, you have to give this team your fucking kudos the last 3 weeks, or last 4 weeks because of the bye week. Last 4 weeks, you have to give this team those kudos because of who they've beaten and the performances they put on. Because, man, like I said, it is something to rely on and back on. And I expect Sunday night that Mile High Stadium be rocking bigger and better than anything we've seen the last 5, 6, 7 years. I'm only saying 6 years because the opening night game after winning the Super Bowl was absolutely electric. So it's going to be, that stadium's going to feel like it's back, and Sunday Night Football being back, I'm very, very excited. And like I said, this is two very, very hot football teams. Two hot football teams. And the Vikings are right now with Josh Dobbs believing themselves more than anyone in the league. So it's going to be a very
as much game. As you want Ted Lasso to be the coach of the Broncos right now and like talking Broncos country through, you know who already does believe and has the sign taped up above his office door is Kevin O'Connell and Josh Dobbs. And they're just making shit happen. They're just absolutely going out there and figuring it out as we go. And there's been a couple, it's been cool because I obviously I'm saying this because I also want brownie points, so I'm picking the Vikings. But I do like Kevin O'Connell. He's a cooler young head coach. He lets access to a lot of different things. And they were filming him on the sideline. It was one of those scrambles where Josh Dobbs like shook four tacklers off somehow and made it into the end zone. He just looked around like dead speechless. Like, okay, I guess we'll put that one in the playbook for next week.
I have a guy that does this. And look, it is two different styles of quarterback that Kirk Cousins and Josh Dobbs are. There is a movement. There's the rollout option. And look, Kirk Cousins, don't get me wrong, he's not like a stable quarterback. He's not like a guy that just stands there. He moves a little bit, but he does not move to the extent of Josh Dobbs. And getting 2 weeks now under his belt with this team, it's only going to get them better. He's going to get familiarity. I think if they had Justin Jefferson back, this team would be even so much better than they are. Like I said, they have Justin Jefferson with Dobbs, and to add with Jordan Ashton, who's been one of the best offensive receivers, rookie receivers this year, easily. They have very, very good talent across the board. And Hawkinson's a top tight end in football. There's zero doubt about that. This defense still worries me, but like I said, if the Vikings were playing anyone else in the Broncos this week, I probably would have picked them to beat any other team. Like you give me a pick of every team that we picked this week, there's a good chance that I think that the Vikings either cover or beat them. And that's how much belief I have in them. But I think my team right now, and look, it may come back to bite me in the ass. If it does, I'll pick against the Broncos every single week going forward because I'm a man of my word, and apparently I'm not this week. So I'm going against it. But, yeah, I'll stick with my boys.
Last game, the Kelsey Bowl, rematch of the Super Bowl. Basically the worst thing in the world for you. City of Philadelphia versus Kansas City.
This is going to be unfucking fathomable TV to watch is all I'm going to say, okay?
Troy Aikman and Joe Buck are not going to be speaking about football very much because Taylor Swift gets a 2-week break in her touring, and she's already claimed because you're on TikTok too. I wish I would have sent it to you, but I saw the video. You see from Elf, because we talked about Christmas movies. It's Travis Kelce returning to the Chiefs locker room. I'm in love, and I don't care who knows it. That was, I mean, far for anybody to judge what's going on in somebody's personal life, but the way that these videos are coming out, and it's not even those two. I don't think those two are the ones that are pushing this narrative that everybody talks about it. It's the legions of Swifties that are making their lives miserable. The Swifties don't understand. The Swifties don't understand the impact that they have. They're the reason why she continues to have these failed relationships because look at this. I got Taylor. Taylor can't have nice things. Taylor has nice things. She won't make good music. Taylor needs to make good music. I need good music.
Oh, Jimmy, you better be careful with your words. You may have picked the Vikings, but your girlfriend is a Swiftie. I look. The worst part about this game is like there's very, very few things us men have. Okay, let's not. There's very, very few things.
Don't you take my football away from me.
Don't you fucking dare take my football away from me. Okay, I don't fucking need this. I can think about grown men fucking shoving the football down the fucking other man's throat and being like, I'm better than you. If you're taking that away and fucking give me Taylor Swift and just fucking Travis Kelce shoved down my throat for 3 hours, I'm finding something else to watch. Okay,
oh my God, don't hurt him. If you're watching the game this week and she goes, so when is Trevor Kelce gonna get like his interview? You just gotta just walk out. If it's your house, even still, just put your shoes on, grab your car keys, walk out.
There's a good chance I put the game on fucking mute, and I think the Nuggets play Monday night, and I'll probably listen to that and put that game on TV. And the minute they show Taylor Swift on the fucking broadcast, I change to fucking something else, or I don't know. I don't know. I'd probably still watch football because I love football. There's not many things else men have, but my God, thank God Collinsworth isn't on this damn call because I think it'd be even worse. I don't know if you saw the memes because the Collinsworth memes about Mahomes' is fucking underpants. My God, I fucking was dying because I don't know if you saw this Monday Night Football, the Manning cast. Mahomes was on the Manning cast. I did not watch the Manning cast on Monday night, but I did. But I did see these videos. Mahomes apparently wears the same pair of red underwear every single football game he plays. Same pair of red underwear for every game. Apparently, that's what was told.
Why do we know this?
Yep, and the first meme I see is the white chicks meme, where the two guys go into the men's you don't know what I'm talking about. The white
sniffing chicks' panties.
The white sniffing the chick's panties and licking it, and it's actually a dude.
They're guys, aren't they?
They're guys, aren't they? And this is Collinsworth sniffing Mahomes' fucking red underwear, and I could not stop dying laughing. Okay, so thank God I don't have to deal with Collinsworth on the call. And look, Aikman and Buck are pretty good about sticking to football. Luckily, they're pretty decent about it. But there's a good chance.
That video of the compilation of Aikman's calls that sound weirdly sexual. It's almost like he's doing it on purpose. Because then, as I'm listening to this last one, listening to the Broncos game, he said something. You guys just got to reach in there and pull that out real quick. I was like, oh.
There's a good chance that the Manning cast is on Monday night. I'm putting it on. Okay, is all I'm gonna say is I trust Eli and Peyton not to fucking dick stroke Taylor Swift all fucking night more than anyone else. Okay, please, Peyton, give me hope. Please give me hope that we still have football in our lives, that it isn't fucking infestated with Swifties. Give me something to keep, please.
Peyton and Eli are slowly backing out of the room with their Shake It Off costumes, being like, okay. We hear everybody. We're not going to do the Shake It Off skit. We're not going to recreate the music video. Don't worry. That's definitely not part of our plan. Let's talk about the actual football being played because this is a rematch of the Super Bowl, and it's a possible rematch that we may get in the Super Bowl because the Eagles, I believe they're still number one team record-wise in the entire NFL, and the Chiefs have only lost 2 games and look to be their defense is really, really good. They're coming off of a loss. Their defense.
Everyone, that one more time.
Their defense this year is better than it had. This is the best defense they've had since they lost to New England in the AFC Championship. That was when they had Frank Clark and Chris Jones. They're winning games in a different way, and you have to think at some point the offense is going to click. And when that offense clicks and the defense doesn't fall off, and Spagnuolo gets those guys going, the Chiefs are still a very scary team. Like I mentioned it, Bengals will have to play them. But the Eagles are a machine. That matchup between Jason Kelce, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson. I almost said Russell Dickerson. Apparently, I need to listen to country music. I don't know. Landon Dickerson, Jason Kelce. Those guys are going to have a hell of a task trying to block Chris Jones and those guys that the Chiefs have up front. But there's no better offensive line unit on or off the field because guess what just dropped today? The Christmas album Part 2.
I mean, hot take. I don't want to fucking hear Christmas music until Black Friday. Okay, fuck out of here with this bullshit.
Yeah, but they're raising. I like it because they're raising money for charity. That's what I like about it, and it's cool. Jordan Mailata got to sing a duet with Patti LaBelle.
You got me back with that is all I'm gonna say. I'm not look, you know me better than this. I'm not fucking picking the Chiefs. I'm just not. I'm gonna go the Eagles. I think they get the rematch back. God, I would love nothing more than the fucking tush push just to be shoved down my throat more than Taylor Swift. I cannot believe I said that. Just said that, but I would love to hear more about the tush push than I do want to hear about Taylor and Travis Kelce. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, and the city of brotherly love that I've talked so much shit about. It's weirdly enough, this podcast, I've said a lot of good things about the city of Philadelphia. Okay, I said Tyrese Maxey is the next stud. I said the Water Dogs fit perfectly in Philadelphia. I'm picking the Eagles. What is going on, Jimmy? The Broncos win, and all of a sudden I'm a new man. What is going on? I'm picking Philly. I'm not picking the Chiefs, but please, Lord, please just let me have my football. Don't shove this down my throat. It's all I want. Like, I don't care if you shove down their podcast down my throat because I don't mind it, but don't shove Taylor Swift down my fucking throat. Please don't. You gotta show her a couple times. I get it because there's gonna be a massive woman fan base watching the game for no fucking reason. But please let me watch my football and keep it football. Please, I'm begging you, please.
I'm picking the Chiefs.
I expect nothing
Chiefs
less.
at home. The Chiefs at home. The Travis Kelce love bump.
We differ on one game this week.
Pause.
We differ. We differ on every game but one this week.
Yes, no, this is going to be moving day. It's either going to stay exactly the same or there's going to be huge movement one way or the other. Recap the picks for everybody. Thursday Night Football, I picked the Bengals. Nico picked the Ravens. Browns, Steelers, I went with Cleveland. Nico went with Pittsburgh. We both went with Miami over Las Vegas. And then I have the Vikings and the Chiefs. Nico has the Broncos and the Eagles to round out primetime football this week. So hopefully, if you're invested in the pick 'em, you're able to watch these games and you'll be watching the Vikings win, the Browns win, the Chiefs win. You'll be like, yeah, fuck yeah, Jimmy got the games back. He got the games back from the stupid trivia over the summer. No longer has to worry about his lack of knowledge costing him football games anymore.
Hey, if we did George Strait fucking trivia, obviously we just fucked up and did not have a music category all summer until the last day. But you would have killed me because how quickly you got the George Strait song is still beyond me. So I
make it to Cheyenne, Beaches of Cheyenne, Amarillo by Morning. No, 90s, early 2000s country music it was Garth Brooks, by the way. That's the one that it was. If tomorrow never comes, this is what should have gave it away. I'll put this out since we're coming up on the end of the show. If you're not watching on YouTube, go watch on YouTube. I bought the anthology of Dis when it came out, and it came with a book that I've read a few times, cover to cover.
That's pretty cool. I like it. Yeah,
I went to one of his concerts in the womb, so he's my guy through and through. That's gonna bring us to the end of the show.
I'll say one more thing. There's one more little bit of sports news, non-football, non-basketball, non-hockey. Actually, two things. One, the Rugby World Cup happened 2 weeks ago, and I'm sorry I didn't say anything, but my Springbucks, and yes, I'll say my Springbucks because two of my fucking brothers played for the fucking Springbucks fucking youth team. The Springbucks won the Rugby World Cup, beat New Zealand. I loved every second of that. Watched it. Family was very, very excited. And second thing, the biggest sporting event in North America is happening this week. One of the biggest sporting events of the year is happening this week, Jimmy. You know what it is? Formula One is in Las Vegas, baby. Formula One is in Las Vegas. And look, Saturday night I'm going to watch it. I'm excited to watch it. The sprint is over. Look, the sprint is over. It's absolutely over. Max Verstappen has won every single race, basically, outside of like 2 or 3. But I'm going to watch it. I'm very, very thrilled to be able to throw it on and see what Vegas is, what type of show Vegas is going to put on for Formula One. I love the Netflix show Drive to Survive, and I watched the little fucking golf thing that they did on Tuesday with the Formula One drivers and the full swing guys. So I'm gonna be thrilled. I'm excited to watch it on Saturday night. I was going to try to find tickets, but then I realized it's a fucking $500 ticket to fucking sit where you can't even see the racetrack. And I was like, I think I'm going to watch it on TV. I think I'll pass on that one instead of
spend a couple. Vegas, so
exactly spend a couple grand in Vegas. I think I'll pass on that this year. Maybe hopefully it gets cheaper next year. But yeah, no, I'm really really thrilled about that, and I'm excited to watch it. I'm like I said, if you're a Netflix binger like myself. Binge Drive to Survive. You can do that in 2 nights, and you'll be ready for Saturday's race. So I'm excited. It should be fun. It should be a show. So I'm excited.
Last thing before I put all the socials out and go through our end of the show, be sure to check out Top of the Mountain from this point on. First week of the playoffs, we have in the RMAC, Colorado School of Mines, #1 overall seed in the entire NCAA Division II football. They have the 1 seed and the bye this weekend. Western Colorado, for the second time that I've been a host of a podcast that's talked about the RMAC, is now hosting a playoff game. They're actually opening up their new Mountaineer Bowl. It just got renovated. The first game in 2 seasons that they've been playing in the actual stadium, and it's going to be against Central Washington to see if they're able to move on to the second round of the playoffs. Here's the thing. Since 1998.
Jeez.
First time since 98 that they'd make it to the second round of the playoffs. And if they win 2 games, they get a rematch against Colorado Mines. So I'm excited. RMAC football, Top of the Mountain. Me and Rev we're ready to get things rolling here. So check that out tomorrow. It'll be, or not tomorrow, Friday. Tomorrow, as you're listening to this, Friday live. And be sure, keep up with Talking the Gridiron, all that good stuff. Follow at FEOTB Pod. Let us know what you think. We've had a few good comments come in on the YouTube channel so far the last few weeks, but make sure you're leaving 5-star ratings, reviews, like, comment, tell your sports friends about us that you'd like enjoying listening to the show, and keep on trucking. Keep being the awesome benchwarmers that you guys are. We really appreciate all the support so far. For myself, Jimmy Pilato, my co-host Nico Bryant, episode 160 of the Far End of the Bench podcast in the books. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you next week.
Peace.
If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.